Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It's Sunday night, don't usually do live streams on a Sunday night, but obviously Everton play on Tuesday night as well. So we're here to do the live game review of yesterday's 1-1 draw against West Ham United at the Olympic Stadium or Olympic Park, whatever it's called, away from home. As we know, Everton drawing yesterday in what was for me a frustrating game of football. I think we struggled in the midfield, certainly in the first half. I think we were overran it for an awful lot of the first half. I don't think Tom Davies and Fabian Delph could quite get their foot on the ball. West Ham were breaking at us. They were creating opportunities for themselves. We were very unlucky to not go 1-0 ahead, obviously, as a ball gets swung in by Luca Dean and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is literally millimetres away from it, and for me, Theo Walcott, who ultimately gets on the end of it, should do an awful lot better. But we don't go 1-0 up. Obviously we know West Ham go 1-0 up, having scored a goal from a header, I think, from a set piece this season. You know, take a set piece against Everton and there you go, you guarantee the goal score to go 1-0, and then we all know 3 minutes later we equalise, and after that, you know, the game was pretty much stalemated from that point on. It wasn't the greatest game of football in terms of quality, like I said. It wasn't the best game of football to watch, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. West Ham having a goal rightfully ruled for offside by VAR. The linesman had his flag up anyway, so it wasn't really VAR. We're going to talk about VAR later on in the live team because I think it's absolutely disgraceful once again. Yesterday there was a classic case of showing why, you know, VAR officials and the officials in this country just want to determine the results in football matches and wanted to determine the outcomes of football matches. It's got nothing to do with it being a fairer game. It's got nothing to do with rectifying, you know, wrong decisions and making sure you make the right decision. It's nothing to do with that at all. It's all about, you know, the outcome that they want the outcome to be. How that wasn't a sending off for a blatant headbutt on Mason Holgate is absolutely beyond me. But anyway, like I said, we'll talk about it a little bit later on in the live stream. But it was a frustrating game. It was a frustrating result at the end of the day. It's not a bad point to take, is it? At the end of the day, going away from home and taking a point in any game realistically is you know, not the worst thing in the world, especially considering the performance that we put in. We weren't great, were we? Let's be perfectly honest. You know, we looked slow. We looked a little bit lackadaisical. We looked, you know, a little bit slow on the ball. We weren't quite keeping possession. Every time we got the ball, we were, you know, kicking it out. Bernard, who had a fantastic first half against Brighton and, you know, usually has a really, really good game against West Ham, didn't quite get his foot on the ball. He couldn't quite take it forward. He couldn't quite find his feet in this game, and that's ultimately why he was taken off at half-time. And obviously Anthony Gordon, come on, we'll talk about Anthony Gordon in a second. But we sort of knew from the start, you know, Friday afternoon when Carlo Ancelotti done his pre-game press conference and he announced that, you know, Richarlison won't be available for this game. He unfortunately picked up an injury, and saying and Gylfi Sigurdsson as well won't be available. We heard on match day that Michael Kean wasn't available either. You know, we said about how Carlo Ancelotti's plans was to, you know, take Mason Holgate out and give Mason Holgate a rest and have Michael Kean partner Yerry Mina, but obviously he couldn't do that because Michael Kean suffered a head injury. And again, you know, obviously he hasn't had the greatest of seasons so far, Michael Kean, very similar to Gylfi Sigurdsson. He hasn't had the greatest of seasons either, but, you know, it's still injuries, isn't it? It's still players that are coming out of what is already a massively weakened squad, and Carlo Ancelotti doesn't have much choice to choose from. You know, the midfield that he put out in Delph and Tom Davies, I think we all sort of predicted, we all knew it was going to be the midfield, and it's quite blatantly clear. And one thing I really, really noticed yesterday in watching the game and looking at the highlights and looking at, you know, the possession that West Ham had in the centre of the park, and the way that we weren't using the ball as we should be using, is that we are massively lacking creativity in this team. And you know, we've spoken about the transfer window, and we've spoken about how we arguably need an entire spine of a football club, an entire spine of a team, you know, a centre back, a goalkeeper, centre midfielder and a striker. But, you know, at the moment you only have to look at that game yesterday and you can see, well, okay, we've got, you know, 2 centre-backs who are performing quite well this season. Mason Holgate, who obviously has stepped up, he's been absolutely fantastic for me. Yesterday, again, another man-of-the-match performance by Mason Holgate, fantastic. Yerry Mina as well, who seems to step his game up since last season. He's performing at a higher level. Going to, you know, the striker, you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who also has stepped his game up since last season. Been putting in some really, really good performances of late, and scored, you know, again, another important goal yesterday, and another decent goal as well. Another striker's finish, really, where, you know, the ball's headed on from a corner and he's on the end of it to put it in the back of the net. But realistically, you know, you look at those positions and you think, well, okay, if we want to be a top 6 team, then maybe we do need to bring in, you know, a centre-half with a little bit more quality than the ones that we've currently got, and maybe we do need to bring in a striker that's a little bit more naturally gifted than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or a little bit more technically able than Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But then you look at the midfield and you think, well, that really... that really needs to be the position that we're looking at as soon as possible, really, because we've got absolutely no creative midfielders whatsoever. There's no creativity in that midfield. Nobody moves. Nobody tries to, you know, create space. And for me, you know, nobody's got the quality to create anything for the teammates. You look at that midfield yesterday, and, you know, Tom Davies and Fabian Delph, who, again, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to rip into either player individually, but I thought both were really, really poor yesterday. Certainly in the first half, they were overran in the midfield in terms of work rate. You know, they didn't seem really up for it. They weren't getting themselves about as much as they should be. They couldn't keep a hold of the ball when they had it, and overall, they just weren't creating anything. And you look at the other midfield options that we've got, and, you know, obviously... Sorry, got a little bit of a tickly throat. Obviously, you've got, you know, Morgan Schneiderlin in there, who we all know isn't a creative midfielder. Gylfi Sigurdsson, who previously in previous seasons, okay, might have been seen as a, you know, a creative midfielder and that player that we look at as our creative output, but definitely not the case this season. And even, you know, when we've got everybody fit in our you know, our ideal midfield, which would probably be Andre Gomez and John-Philip Gbamin, neither of those midfielders are very creative either. You know, Andre Gomez is technically probably our best midfielder, and is the midfielder that, you know, we'd love to see week in, week out, but he's not massively creative. He doesn't break forward. He doesn't create opportunities for the forward line, and that is what we're lacking in this team at the end of the day. We're lacking creativity. We're lacking somebody like a Mikel Arteta in his day who could pick the ball up, drive forward, and create something for the attackers, create something for the wingers. We just haven't got that, and, you know, obviously having lost one of our most creative players for yesterday's game, and Richarlison, who picked up an injury, and, you know, Carlo Ancelotti said that he hopes he'll be fit for Tuesday's game, and so do I, really, because you could see just how much we missed Richarlison yesterday. Obviously Moise Kean stepping in, and I'll talk about Moise Kean in just a second. Listen, he didn't have his greatest game. I think the lad worked hard, to be honest with you. I think he just needs to sort of... He needs to watch where he's using his energy. For me, he was getting too involved, you know, near our box, you know, in sort of areas where he shouldn't really be running around, and he needs to stay at, you know, into the position that he's in and let the ball come to him, and then use his energy running with the ball forward rather than trying to attack back and do the defensive duties. And I understand that, you know, he's been watching Richarlison. That's what Richarlison does really, really well, and you can't really fault the kid for trying to get back and for trying to defend and for putting last-ditch tackles in, because, you know, that's the work rate that you want to see. But, you know, in terms of his position and being a striker and being that player that we should look out for a creative outlet, you know, he didn't provide that yesterday. And like I said, it's going to take time for Moise Kean. You know, we all knew he was never going to hit the ground running straight away. I think a lot of us expected him to, you know, hit the ground running at some point within the first 6 months of his Everton career, but he might be one of those players that take a year and a half to fully settle in and to fully acclimatise and to fully get used to the team and the league. You know, look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's been at the club, 2 or 3 years, and when he first come in his first season, even his second season, you know, a lot of fans were saying he's not good enough. A lot of fans to this day still say he's not good enough, he shouldn't be in and around the team. You know, he's not a goal scorer. He needed to acclimatise. He needed to get used to the position he was playing, and now, you know, he has been consistent this season, hasn't he? He's been an outlet for goals. He's been scoring consistently, and he's been getting himself in the right position. So I believe it will, you know, he will come good, Moise Kean. I believe, you know, his time will come, but I just think he probably still needs a little bit more time to acclimatise. And, you know, the 70, 80 odd minutes he got yesterday will be massively good for him, and again, it'll be good for him to get some more minutes on Tuesday night. You know, even if Richarlison is fit and he does start the game, it'll be good for Moise Kean to maybe come off the bench and get some more minutes. But like I said, the overriding thought for me and opinion of yesterday's game was that we just are lacking that creativity. You know, West Ham didn't bring an awful lot. Obviously, they were out there to fight. They were out there to battle. They were trying to perform under a new manager as well, David Moise, obviously, who, you know, the commentators decided to throw a curse out saying, you know, he hasn't beaten Everton as a manager, I don't think, in his career, you know, even when he was at West Ham previously and when he was at Manchester United. But we did, you know, like I said, we just didn't have that creative outlet in the centre of the midfield, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin looked a little bit lost at times in the game. I thought Theo Walcott was poor for the entire game, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not interested in hearing this argument about Theo Walcott, as that, you know, he's unlucky, like the situation where Luca Dean, you know, thrashed the ball in, and Calvert-Lewin was very, very near to getting his head on it, but he doesn't, and Theo Walcott thrashes at the chance when, realistically, a player of his experience, a player of his knowledge, you know, somebody that's been been in the game as long as Theo Walcott has. He should have had the know-all there to take that ball down and to get a clean shot on goal. Not rushing it, not trying it first time like a superstar and get a goal that's going to be, written in the stars and shown all over the internet. He should have took that down and hit that, second time. Control the ball so you've got full control of it and, get your foot on it and strike it. He should know that as a professional footballer, somebody who's been in the game for as long as he has, somebody who's got no reason to sort of panic in front of goal. I just think Theo Walcott, he does an awful lot getting forward, and he's good at beating a man and he's good at using his pace, but I just think his final ball just, it should be a lot better, and it's alright just sitting here saying it needs to improve and it needs to be better, but he's 33 years old, something along those lines, and he still hasn't got, the final ball that he needs. I just don't think he's got a long-term future at Everton, to be perfectly honest. But that's, like I said, that was my overriding thought from yesterday, is that we do massively lack creativity, and you look at the forward line, like I said, Bernard didn't have a good first half whatsoever. He struggled to get his foot on the ball. He struggled to really do anything with the ball. Usually when we play West Ham United, especially away from home, Bernard's very, very good at getting at their attackers, taking players on, getting him in between the back lines. But he didn't. He struggled doing that yesterday. And, we had a really, really good first half against Brighton again. Similarly to yesterday, he struggled in the second half against Brighton. He come off, obviously, at half-time. We've seen Anthony Gordon come on for his debut. I thought Anthony Gordon was fantastic. I thought he carried himself with such professionalism. He didn't put a foot wrong whatsoever. He was getting back. He was doing his defensive duties, similar to what we used to Bernard and Richarlison doing. When he was breaking forward, he was using his energy. He was using his pace. Okay, his decision-making in the final third maybe could have been a little bit better, but I put that down to confidence. There was a couple of times when he broke through and he was on the edge of the box, and you were sort of screaming at him to shoot, put your foot through the ball. We've seen what the lad has done in the under-23s recently. We've seen how good he can be with the ball at his feet, and I think a lot of us were just screaming at him to put his foot through the ball and have that confidence and have that belief in himself. But you can't really fault him can't really blame him for not sort of wanting to go for the shot and for not wanting to rush his chance, because we've either put it 200 yards in the stand, it probably knocked his confidence a little bit more. He did have an opportunity within literally 5 or 10 minutes after the second half started. The ball come in, it was just behind Moise. He couldn't get his foot on it, and Anthony Gordon runs onto it, and he attempts to hit it on goal, and he does blast it into the stands. And I think from that point on, I think that shot sort of it knocked his confidence a little bit in the game, and I think he was sort of a little bit sheepish to try and shoot again. And you could see that when he was breaking forward, he had the chance where he had an opportunity where he had the ball at his feet on the edge of the box, and you are sort of screaming at him to just bend it or curl it or have a go, and he doesn't. He tries to play Dominic Calvert-Lewin through, and I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin ends up being offside. But I thought Anthony Gordon had a really, really good second half. I thought he was fantastic. It was good to let him have 45 minutes. Really, really good to see the praise from Carlo Ancelotti as well, and I fully expect Anthony Gordon now to be within the first team for the very, very near future. Hopefully he gets some more minutes on Tuesday night against Newcastle, because he really, really did impress. He was full of energy, he was full of work rate, he was getting himself about, and he was good on the ball as well. He had an opportunity where he took Zabaleta on near the end of the game and got us won us a free kick in a good area, and that's exactly what we need. That is that little bit of skill, that little bit of like I said, know-all, and maybe that creativity that we've been lacking. We need a player that's going to pick the ball up, knock it past the player and run past him, because that's what we should have been doing all day. As soon as we seen yesterday that Pablo Zabaleta was lining up for West Ham, on the right side, that's all Bernard should have been doing in the first half. That's all, Luca Dean should have been doing when he was getting the ball. Knock it past him and run, because if you knock it past, a man that's 36 years old, or however old Pablo Zabaleta is, he will not be able to keep up with your pace, and that's what Anthony Gordon done when he come on. He got the ball, he took the ball at his feet, he knocked it past him, and he ran him, and Pablo Zabaleta had no other choice but to foul him, and you could see the smile on Zabaleta's face when he did foul him. It's almost like he was saying, I'm not fucking running after him, I'm not keeping up with him, and we won a free kick in a dangerous area, and granted we didn't do anything with it, but if we'd have been doing that consistently throughout the game, if we were doing that from the first minute and we were winning those free kicks and we were running at, two fullbacks for me who aren't very good in West Ham's fullbacks, no disrespect to them, but we should have been getting at them, and we should have been creating problems, but we just didn't. And like I said, it wasn't a game full of quality, was it? And it wasn't one to sort of keep your eye out on and watch an awful lot of times again. In terms, obviously, of Moise Kean stepping in yesterday to replace Richarlison, who obviously missed the game through an injury. Again, it's difficult with Moise Kean at the minute. I don't think he particularly had an awful game. I've seen a lot of criticism for him on social media. Like I said, I don't think he was awful. But you know, I think we've got too high of an expectation for Moise Kean, and that was created at the start of the season when he come in the summer. And we all knew, you know, how good he can be, and we all knew that the potential that he's got, and you know the sort of the story that the media were trying to create, and that, you know, why would Juventus let him go? He's such a good young player. What's going on there? There must be something else in there, and the fact that, you know, he has got a lot of potential at the end of the day. But I think we all knew deep down as a fan base that it would take a little bit of time for Moise Kean to acclimatise to this league. It would take a little bit of time for him to get used to playing. But I think maybe we sort of felt like that little bit of time would only be 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, you know, 2 months at the most, when realistically, you know, we probably should have looked at it and thought, you know, maybe he'll take a year, or at least, you know, 2 years to fully get used to the, you know, the country, and to fully get used to the club and how we play and the way we play. Obviously, he's already, you know, played under 2 managers, and he's only been here 7 months. Carlo Ancelotti's now come in with different philosophies than Marco Silva, different styles of play, different ways of playing. So again, it's massively new to Moise Kean, and it was his big opportunity yesterday. And like I said, I think, you know, when we sat here and we done the preview on Friday, and we speak about it being Moise Kean's big opportunity, I think a lot of us sort of would have been sufficed with, you know, a hat-trick from him, or a couple of goals, or, you know, to massively impact the game, and to be running West Ham's, you know, defence ragged, and you know, scoring as if he's used to doing it week in, week out. But, you know, it wasn't to be, and maybe, like I said, that expectation was a little bit too high. Maybe, you know, it was a little bit unrealistic for us to, you know, to believe that he could achieve that. I think he played okay. I think he played well. He put a shift in. He was getting himself about. I think his touch could do with being a little bit better, to be honest with you. I think he needs to work on that in the training ground, and I think he needs to work on his positioning as well. For me, he just, and this is purely, you know, this is down to his youth and down to his inexperience, but I think he just gets a little bit too sucked towards the ball too much. You know, he always wants the ball, and you can't complain if you've got a lad that is constantly wanting the ball and is constantly wanting to get the ball and win it back and run with it. Then there's absolutely no problem with that. I'd rather that than a player, you know, like what Gylfi Sigurdsson, who we've seen in the recent weeks, who's the complete opposite and doesn't want the ball and wants to run away from the ball. But, you know, I just think he needs to use his energy a little bit better, and he needs to use his movement a little bit better. He was, you know, fading into the midfield, you know, a couple of times yesterday. He even won a tackle, made the tackle on the edge of our box, you know, a tackle realistically that the right back should be making, or, you know, the centre midfielder, and Moise Kean, who's playing up front, is tackling back and making that tackle. And like I said, I've got absolutely no problem with that, and fair play to the lad for getting back and making that challenge. But you're almost sort of sitting there thinking you could use that energy to break away. You could use that energy to run at the back post when we've got a corner, and to get yourself in behind the defender, which ultimately could, you know, get us a goal. And like I said, I think that's just something he's going to learn over time, is to preserve his energy in positions that, you know, realistically it's not his responsibility. It's not his responsibility to make challenges on the edge of the box. Our box is not his responsibility to be running into the centre of the midfield and, you know, facing up with the centre defenders to get the ball. You know, he needs to learn that he's going to get his opportunities, and he's going to get his opportunities by players feeding the ball into him, and not him having to necessarily go and pick the ball up. But maybe it says a lot about the team, and again, it all boils down to this lack of creativity and this lack of creative midfielder, is that you've got a player like Moise Kean, who is young, who is hungry, who wants the ball, and he feels like he needs to go into that centre midfield role. He needs to go towards the centre backs to pick the ball up, because he feels like he's not going to be fed it any other way. And I think if, you know, Carlo Ancelotti and Marcel Brands work as they should do in the summer, and work towards bringing in a creative midfielder, then maybe Moise Kean won't feel the need to have to run back and pick the ball up in positions that realistically he shouldn't really be anywhere near. But again, like I said, he found himself, for me, a few too many times facing the wrong way, facing our defence, you know, facing backwards, when realistically his natural position should be facing forwards to win the ball forwards. I'm just going to tweet this team out, and then I'll get back into the live comments. Let's hear what you guys think about yesterday's game. Like I said, wasn't the best result, it wasn't the best performance, but it wasn't the worst result overall. If you're enjoying the team, by the way, please do hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. It only takes a second. Get the stream shared as well to as many people as possible. Let's see how many people we can get here on a Sunday night. Hope you've all had a good weekend. And if you're going back to work tomorrow or school tomorrow, I hope you are prepared. Eugene says Everton will get back to winning ways on Tuesday night when we beat when we beat Newcastle United, at Goodison Park. Everton 4, Newcastle 0. I hope so, mate. Jonathan says, hi Cam, it's always a fair result. Yeah, it wasn't the best game from either team, was it, to be perfectly honest. Carl says, hello mate, I hope Carlos sells Pickford. We need a consistent goalkeeper and we need to bid for Jack Grealish. I'd love Jack Grealish at Everton. I thought Jordan Pickford was fantastic yesterday. Just to touch on Jordan Pickford for a second, I think you've used the word there, Carl, that I want to really point out, consistency, and I think consistency is Jordan Pickford's big problem. Too many games, 1 week he can be absolutely fantastic and the next week he can make a couple of silly errors, or his attitude can force him into making a mistake. But yesterday was another one of those weeks where for me he was absolutely fantastic. He didn't put a foot wrong. He made 2 absolutely fantastic saves. One of them, if it was made by certain other goalkeepers in this league, will be classed as the best save to ever be made. It's absolutely fantastic. It's headed at him from very, very close. It's poor defensively for a start to let the lad get up and head it, but he gets down and he makes an absolutely fantastic save. And again, I don't think we should really criticise Jordan Pickford, especially after yesterday. Fair enough if he goes out and he puts in a poor performance and he makes a couple of mistakes, then obviously criticise him and point the mistakes out. But like I said, I'm a big believer in giving credit when credit's due, and for me, Jordan Pickford deserves nothing but credit for yesterday's performance. I thought it was fantastic. It was professional, and again, he proved why. Okay, his delivery might be poor and his distribution might be poor at times, but his shot stopping for the large part of his Everton career has been fantastic, and again it was yesterday. Ethan says, hello Ethan. Eugene says we need to strengthen the team in the January transfer window. We do, whether we will or not. I'm getting less and less confidence. Obviously we've only got 11-12 days before the end of the transfer window. We still haven't got any solid links to any players yet. Yes, we're getting links here and there, but again, you've seen a link today in an Italian newspaper that's stating that Napoli now want to bring Carlo Ancelotti back to the club, and they're regretting the decision to sack him, and they're going to approach bringing him back. And as much as we all look at that and go, that's an absolute load of shit and it'll never happen, that's the same newspaper who are linking us with every Italian player left, right and centre. So it works both ways, doesn't it? Like I said, I'm getting less and less confidence that we'll do any real business in January. Maybe a loan or two, but I don't think we'll do any significant business. Jack says good result with Richie out. It was, and Richarlison is one of our key players, if not our biggest outlet, definitely for goals and for creativity, and we did massively miss him, and all we've got to do is hope that he's back on Tuesday night. Hernandez says, did they give the time now for Charleston's injury? Need him back, give Gordon a start. It's embarrassing that Walcott still starts. They didn't. Ancelotti said on Friday that he is injured for this game and that he will be out of yesterday's game, but he's hopeful that he'll be back by Tuesday. So all as we can really hope, I suppose, is that he's past fit for Tuesday's game and he's available. But I 100% agree, if Richarlison for whatever reason isn't available, even if Richarlison is available, I think, like I said, Moise Kean, it was really good for him to get minutes. He probably should come out the team now for the Newcastle game and maybe be used as a substitution to come on in the last 10 or 15 minutes when we're struggling for a goal, or we're struggling for that little bit of extra energy and extra pace. But I would 100% start Anthony Gordon on Tuesday against Newcastle. I think he'll bring that energy, he'll bring that pace, he'll bring that like I said, that ability, that skill to knock a ball past the player and run on. And it'll also give him an absolute world of confidence, obviously coming on for his Premier League debut yesterday. We've only previously seen him against Leicester City in the Carabao Cup. So listen, for me, I think it will be I think it'll be fantastic for them to start on Tuesday night, and hopefully he makes the most of that start. Where are we in the comments? Jonathan says Richie back on Tuesday, hopefully. Hernandez says already sick of how many fans are writing Kean off. Yeah, we shouldn't be writing him off already. Keith says Davis was poor. A season loan to the Championship next season to gain confidence. He wasn't great, but I think what we know with Tom Davis, don't we? He's a good squad player. He's never going to be a world beater. He's not poor, let's be honest, but he's a player that, again, like I said, my biggest point yesterday, I don't think I mentioned it on the instant match reaction, but I'll mention it now. I don't think any midfielder, maybe barring Andre Gomez, including every single midfielder that I've got, Delph, Davis, Sigurdsson, Schneiderlin, Gomez, Gabaman, barring Andre Gomez, I don't think any of those midfielders should be starting every single week for Everton if we're looking to be breaking into the top six. If we're looking to be a European team, a team that are challenging for the top four, which I'm just going off what the board is saying, what the overarching sort of aims of the club are. if the board are looking to achieve those aims, then I just don't think any of those midfielders should be in the team week in, week out. I don't think they're good enough. Like I said, maybe Andre Gomez as an exception, because I think he would be good enough next to a couple of, better midfielders, and maybe one that's a little bit more creative, like I've said. But I don't think any of the others are good enough to be playing week in, week out. Carl says Davis has been good this season, and DCL's our striker, not Moise Kean. Jonathan says Davis is awful. Mark says we need more firepower in all positions. Passion is a thing of the past, it seems. Potentially. Carl says Davis is good, wins tackles and pushes the ball at the midfield. He does. He's a positive player. He is a positive player, but I just think, we probably need a player with a little bit more quality. Jack says add by Kai Havertz. John says at least Tom Davis gives a fuck. He's one of us. He does. That's definitely true. Carl says he'd never go to us. He's in a way better team. Jack says you've got a point there. Bruno says nothing but a comfortable win on Tuesday, please. I agree, mate. Hopefully. Carl says Nias caused more trouble than Kean yesterday. John says Can is not the answer. He's not had a hit movie in years. Keith says Davis loses the ball, can't run with the ball at defenders anymore like he uses to. His passes are crap. He has no confidence. He needs a loan. Maybe a loan will benefit Tom Davis. Carl says you can't take time in this league. Lavard says it sums up how threadbare and inadequate our squad is. Carlo will play safety football until we get 40 points. Lavavid also says we cannot replace quality with quality. The season is effectively over forever. Now, maybe we do need to just accept that, we go again in the summer, and hopefully it is a big summer transfer window for Everton, and we can bring in, a lot more quality, and we can add to, like you said, what is already quite a weak squad, and a squad of players that, for me, a lot of them are nothing more than average Premier League players. Definitely not good enough to be playing in top 6 sides and playing in Europe competitions. Carl says I'll play Nias and DCL versus Newcastle with Rich and Bernard on the wings. I don't know about Nias starting. John says Walcott claps the fans when he's subbed. That's a complete waste of space. Carl says when is Iwobi back? And Lav, can we get 7th? John says no. Carl says Nias was good when he came on. He done what he needed to do, but wasn't an awful lot, was it? He says we need to drop Jordan Pickford on Tuesday night. No, I disagree with that. And Wayme says Cam lad, chat peeps. What's happening, Wayme? I hope you're doing well. Anyway, bear with me just a second. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't the greatest result yesterday, was it? It wasn't the best game of football, but at the end of the day, a point away from home is, it's never really a bad point, is it? Let's be honest with you. Again, West Ham, a team that we're always going to come, we're always going to try and fight. They're desperate for points. They're still in and around the relegation zone. They're still only a couple of losses away from being right back down there. Obviously, they're under new management now. David Moise has got them playing, a lot better football than what they were playing under Manuel Pellegrini, and that's very, very clear to see. And like I said, I think we do massively lack creativity. I think Tom Davis and Fabian Delph were massively overrun. And that's something that obviously Carlo Ancelotti needs to monitor and needs to look at in the transfer window. One player I would say was, again, absolutely fantastic, and it seems like I'm sitting here and I'm saying it every single week, was Mason Holgate. I thought Mason Holgate was absolutely fantastic once again. Other than the goal that was conceded, another goal conceded from a stupid free kick that was given away by a senior player who shouldn't be giving away free kicks in those positions, but whatever. Other than the goal that was conceded, I don't think any of the defence put a foot wrong all game, to be honest, other than that. But definitely Mason Holgate again. He looks so assured. He looks like he's becoming a real leader, and like I said, that's what we need. We're massively lacking leadership in this team, but what Mason Holgate seems to be doing is leading by example. He's winning every ball. He's getting in front of players. He's using his feet. He's a very, very dominant defender, and he's a defender that uses his body really, really well, Mason Holgate. And for me, that's why he was able to step into the centre of the midfield and put such a good performance in the centre of the midfield, is because he does use his feet well. He does get it, his body in the way, and he demands the ball, and he demands that he's got that respect when he's got the ball. Again, another solid performance by Mason yesterday, another fantastic performance, and for me, he deserves that contract extension that he's hopefully going to get. He deserves a massive, massive pay rise, because he's come on absolute leaps and bounds since last season, since he had that loan obviously at West Bromwich Albion, and he's come back obviously, and he's taken that spot at centre half. And for me, we all talk about how we need another centre back and how we need to bring in a centre half, and how we were massively let down in terms of the centre back position in the summer, and we were, don't get me wrong, but at this point, if we bring in a centre back, I think it's to challenge Yerry Mina for his position, because I think Mason Holgate's been by far the best centre half that we've had this season, and arguably our best player this season as well. He's been absolutely fantastic. Again, such a solid assured performance by him yesterday. He looked so confident on the ball, and you know, he's a good passer of the ball. He brings the ball into midfield, and like I said, he uses his strength and he uses his body really, really well. VAR. Let's talk about VAR. Ari, I'm not even gonna waste my energy on the Liverpool comments, because I just don't know. I just don't understand why you bothered, really. You're literally running away with the league and inevitably going to win the league. I just don't get why you bothered. So I'm just going to hide every comment from Ari. Don't get involved with it, basically, because it doesn't. We're not here to talk about Liverpool at the end of the day. Liverpool are irrelevant to this conversation and to this channel. We're talking about Everton's draw with West Ham United. VAR, anyway. VAR. What an absolute shambles of a system that is, and what an absolute disgrace of level. What a disgrace of officiating level, if that even makes sense, as to that being done on VAR. The people that are in charge of that system should be ashamed of themselves. And again, I've said it time and time again. I feel like I'm saying it constantly. It's not VAR, because VAR is just a video decision making system, or a video system that shows officials replays of what's previously gone on in the game, and it's those officials that then make the decision as to what's right and what's wrong. We were told when VAR came in that it was here to help rectify mistakes that were being made consistently, and it was here to make sure those mistakes weren't made in a game. Absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. All VAR does is it allows officials to determine the outcomes of football matches, and that's all it done yesterday. I don't give a shit who you are. If you seriously think that wasn't a sending off on Mason Holgate yesterday, you don't understand football and you shouldn't be watching football. You need to go and watch cricket or rugby or fucking tennis or netball or something, because that lad is nowhere, the ball's nowhere near either of them. Mason Holgate is standing his ground doing nothing wrong. The lad's in front of him, the ball is halfway up the other end of the pitch, and he throws his head back. It's a blatant headbutt and it's a blatant sending off. And what's worse is that it actually went to VAR and they didn't do anything. They didn't even try and and rectify it. They didn't even It's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit, and I'm really, really getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of it because, again, we had the penalty decision against Brighton where you're literally sitting in the stand and you're thinking, he's got to give that as a penalty. That's a blatant penalty. He just has to give it. He doesn't give it against Theo Walcott. Yesterday, as soon as you see the replay and it's an headbutt, you think, right, that's a definite sending off. There's no way he can't send them off. He doesn't send them off. And you're sitting there and you're thinking, what the fuck? How do you honestly think that is not a red card? He throws his head back, and with the ball nowhere near him, it's a blatant headbutt. It's a blatant red card. And again, the system is a disgrace. The level of officiating in this league is a disgrace. And I'm bored of it. I'm absolutely bored of it. It's match fixing at its finest. And I've said time and time again, this league is very, very clearly corrupt. And once again, it was proven yesterday. And I'm not even surprised anymore. There needs to be a serious discussion of how VAR is being used in the Premier League, because it's being used absolutely dreadfully. Lavid says, players know they are not wanted, which produces lack of desire, unprofessionalism, but a fact a lot of them are more interested in not getting injuries so they can go on luxury holidays. You says, think Everton will need to drop Jordan Pickford? No. Carl says Pickford hasn't improved since we got him. I don't know. I think Jonathan says Pickford was good yesterday. I agree. Carl says he's too inconsistent. He does stupid kicks. Gives the ball to other teams all the time. Lavid says, how can the club have expected a 19-year-old to fit in to a culmination of disjointed culmination of 3 failed squads? Spot on. Just ignore Harry, just ignore him. Jack says, our front 4 performance, DCL, okay, Kean, okay, Bernard, Paul, Walker, crap, Gordon coming on good. Couldn't disagree with that. John says, idiot, and you got any better to do? Yeah, just don't even get involved. Jonathan says DCL has quality. Mark says Moise has potential. He needs more game time to find his feet. I agree 100%. Whammy says, don't know why banging on about Pickford. Our back line has been inconsistent, so that affects your keeper. I agree, spot on. Gord says, just got to the UK this morning from Minnesota. Can't wait for Tuesday. Happy days, mate. Whammy says, look at the Gaya. Just leave him alone, Johnny. He's not even worth the time. Lavid says Richarlison, Bernard, Calvert-Lewin are the only players I have faith in. Whammy says he can't. He's a blue. I'm not going to read the comments regarding Ali because I've blocked them, so I don't know what he's saying. Where says hit like and Cam will wear a pink jumper. I already, if you can hit the like, by the way, if you're enjoying this team so far, please do. It means a massive amount to me. If you're new to the channel as well, please do subscribe. It only takes a second, of course. Carl's made him 16 of a season ticket away from home and away games next year when we're in Europe. We'll go to every game. We'll go to the friendlies. Spot on. Wayne says, any thoughts on Emre Can news? We're linked. Yeah, again, he's a good player. He is a good player. Again, obviously he's got the Liverpool connection. I don't know whether he's what we need, to be honest with you. I think he's a player very similar to Andre Gomez. He takes the ball down in midfield. He uses it well. He's got a good passing range, but I just don't think he's got that creative spark that we need. If we're looking at a centre midfielder now, for me, it needs to be a creative centre midfielder who can, create opportunities for the forward line and break us forward. And I just don't think Emre Can's that type of player. Jeff says, 6th, mate, you heard it here first. I hope so. Can't think of an Everton name. Says, unfortunately, I've been proven right on Tom Davis. Not good enough for Everton Football Club. Fair point. Can't think of enough names. I think 1-1 against Newcastle midfield isn't good enough. Well, hopefully we win that game then. John says now we'll smash them. Hopefully, can't think of enough names. Says Niasse needs to leave now and wages are a joke. Wages are a joke. He also says I've been DCL's biggest critic, but if he's scoring goals, how can we complain? Spot on. John says Richarlison will be back, so him and DCL for the win. I hope so. Williams says start Moise again. I think if Richarlison isn't fit, I think Moise Kean maybe will get another start, and maybe that's what he needs. But I think if Richarlison is fit, he'll probably fit straight back in there. Can't think of enough names. I'm so glad DCL has proven me wrong. So happy I like eating my own words when it's our own players. Evertonian TV says hello everyone. John says hey. Wayne says hello. And can't think of enough names. Says Kean should have a few under 23 games to get his confidence. No use on the bench, that gives him no confidence potentially. Maybe that's what he needs. Wayne says slap likes, folks. The channel fastest opinions on YouTube. Can't think of enough names. Says Holgate great passing yesterday. Mina looked uncomfortable on the ball but was solid defensively. Where are we? John says Holgate at Sojourn. Wayne says all good Evertonian, hope you too, mate. And Evertonian says thank you so much. Can't think of enough names. The experienced players have massively let us down this season. Can't rely on kids like DCL, Holgate and Kean. We need proven quality. Fair point. Wayne says Liverpool are irrelevant. The Evertonian TV says who? Robbie says even Charlie Nichols said it was a blatant red and that guy is an utter clown. Wayne says they're bored. Can't think of enough. No one gives a flying fuck about Liverpool. Corn says, would Everton fans need to stop getting emotional after every game? When we win a game, we're so overconfident, and then we go into every game if we lose. Yeah, maybe we do need to stop getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Then the luck's not going to run out. Lavid says VAR is a contradiction, so if the ref was not in a clear position to see it, then it's a foul. The foul is not given. Corn says we criticise every player and overanalyse what went wrong. Toothy says yeah, but the headbutt was either going to be a red. Well, a red, how could it be anything else? Spot on. Can't think of enough names. Walcott, Davis, Delph, Sigurdsson, Sneijder and Niasse need to leave immediately. Can't think of enough names. We need Richie. Corn says I'm a bit disappointed with the fact that we were as Everton fans always blame the ref for every loss and think we are the only players to get bad decisions. John says sorry Cam mate, hit the like. Yeah, if you could hit the like, it mean a massive amount to me. Evertonian TV says Davis deserves credit, he tries his best, but there's a lack of control in this game. Andre Gomez is a massive loss for that. Lavovich says VAR, player tips up opponent behind the ref's back, ref cannot see it, therefore foul does not get given. How is this assistant refereeing exactly? Tuthi says VAR is staying on the league again and again, get the refs out of the booth and bring in an independent crew, god damn it's not that hard. And Disman says Walcott is past it. Fair enough. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button, it only takes a second. If you're new to the channel as well, please do subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow again around 7 PM for the live game preview ahead of our Premier League fixture against Newcastle at Goodison Park on Tuesday, so don't forget to join me for that one. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, it only takes a second like I said. Don't forget to go and follow us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT as well. Get the live stream shared as well. Big thanks to everybody in the live comments as per usual. If you're new to the channel, like I said, please do subscribe and leave a like on the team if you have enjoyed. Can't think of enough to say what's your opinion on that midfield. It needs improving and we need a little bit more creativity, but we're probably not going to get that until the summer. Eugene says see you, buy up the toffees. Thank you very much, Eugene. see you soon. Anyway, that's going to do it today. Big thanks for watching. Please hit that like button if you have enjoyed today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. I'll see you tomorrow at around 7 PM for the live game preview to the Newcastle game. Up the Blues. Let's get back to winning ways, and hopefully we do that on Tuesday. Wayne says, easy peeps, easy Cam. Thank you very much, and thanks for your support. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll get involved with as many of them as possible. Wayne says, have a good one, folks. Hit the like. Yes, please do if you can. And John says, up the Blue, boys. Up the Blues, indeed. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.